Good evening and welcome to Journalist Hangout. I am Esther Mokwariola. Today on the program, Senate says Nigeria's sovereignty under threat as Cameroonian separatists kill villagers in border communities. And later on the show, ASUP urges federal government to release revitalization funds to polytechnics to avert another strike. I will be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, who joins us via Zoom, with Tunde Abaton and Chiawolamoke Wankwo. Journalist Hangout starts now. Well, with Nigeria battling internal insecurity, adding external threats to the challenges may be unthinkable. The Senate says the sovereignty of the country is under threat after Manga community in Takum local government area of Taraba State in the northeast was attacked by Ambazonia separatists from southern Cameroon. And in a move to put the situation under check, the Senate called on the military to, as a matter of urgency, swing into action to prevent the eventual occupation of Manga community by the separatists. So let's begin with you now, Tunde. Who are these Ambazonia separatists and the concerns that they pose a threat to this country's sovereignty?
Actually, we all know that Cameroon has not been going, things have not been going well for that country for a very long time. And as it is usual with insurgents in West Africa, there is a tendency for local insurgents at a particular country to want to extend their network into some other countries. I think what is left for us is that the more we try to downplay the effect of the insurgency in West Africa, the more it appears is getting naughtier by the day. And it also shows that either we are not facing the threat directly or that we are not addressing the issues that should be addressed. I think at this particular stage, Nigeria needs help. We need help in the sense that, yes, thank God that the president has been going around to especially France, the colonies. You know, we are surrounded by countries that are French-speaking countries, and they have their own internal problem. So it will appear as if that particular axis, we need the help of the Western. If the US said they wanted to help us, Britain said they wanted to help us, we are not appear. It will appear that we have to concentrate more energy in seeking the help of France in getting rid of this. Because all these countries, through which they enter Nigeria, they have one problem or the other. We all know that with the proliferation of small arms in West Africa, especially with the Libyan thing, the thing will keep on. So as we have more instability in all the countries that surround Nigeria, so we have a threat. And these people are inching further. Yes, these separatists, they are also different from Boko Haram, but all of them had a goal. They wanted to expand their territory. Because if they are not expanding their territory, they will not come to Nigeria. And we know Nigeria share border with Cameroon. It has been so for a long time, northern Cameroon. So I think it should not stop with the Senate just issuing directives that they should do something. I think the commander-in-chief has to sit up. That is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Because no matter what deliberations comes from the Senate, the executive, which is led by the President, has to show some determination to stop this thing. Because the Senate will keep on summoning. They will summon the Chief of Army Staff. At the end of the day, the buck stops on the table of the presidency or the executive. So I think it should go beyond the issue of just declaring, asking the Chief of Army Staff. There is a Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So Nigeria should address this thing more because our problems are expanding by the day. Boko Haram there, ASWAP there, and this one, they are from another country. So the problem is becoming multiplied because we are not solving the real problem. So the multiplier effect of not solving Boko Haram and ISWAP is what we are having this one. They are bold enough to now want to take the territory of Nigeria.
Indeed. Now, Chiawolamoke, indeed, why this is a concern, the leader of the Cameroonian separatist group now says that his group was not involved in the attack that killed many in the Manga village, but alleged now that the Cameroonian government was behind the attack to invite Nigeria into the Ambazonia liberation war. How do you see this?
Right from the beginning, I've always had my doubt that the attack came from this separatist group. Because this narrative fits into what we used to have in 2017 and 2018, when the Cameroonian gendarmes will always, attack Boki, a local government in Cross River State. They will cross the international boundary and enter the Cross River, and in an attempt to flush out or attack the separatist group. That has always been the pattern. We've never had a case of separatist groups attacking Nigerian territory. Rather, it has always been the Cameroonian forces in an attempt to fight the militants, now invade Nigerian territory. So that should be where we should be looking at, because we have a precedent. Now, the problem we have is the issue of porous borders. Whether it is from the west front zone, where you have Sema and Idioroko, you see what, porous borders is happening. I mean, it's, what it is doing to our economy in terms of smugglers. If it is in the northern area, you see irregular migration and influx of arms through that end. Now, from the eastern side, you now see what these separatist groups, or even the Cameroonian gendarmes, all the time attacking Nigeria. So Nigeria has to, take this matter seriously, because what defines Nigeria as a nation is territorial integrity. The sovereignty and territorial integrity. If you can't protect it, then you are not worthy to be called a nation. The state, the Nigerian state, has acknowledged this. At the last peace conference in France, the National Defense Nigerian Security Advisor to the President of National Security acknowledged that there might be the need for the federal government to set up a separate force to man our international borders. Of course, we have a tripartite monitoring team comprising Benin Republic, Niger, and Chad, manning these axes. But what do we have at the eastern side? We don't have such thing. And come to think of what happened with this incident we are talking about. This is a place where you have 23 division, brigade of Nigerian Army. So you begin to wonder why such an action should take place in such area without immediate response from the Nigerian Army.
Mm. Indeed.
That's a serious issue.
A focus of concern, and
yes.
I must say.
Yes.
But let's look at this matter again critically, Tunde. From the reports we understand, many villagers have fled their territories, and there seems to be cases of maybe perhaps refugees now, flocking to states and of course other regions around the country. What do you make of this, and how worrying is this?
Well, it's worrisome because even Yobe State, Borno State, they have not been able to properly. Yes, Borno State, they said they wanted refugees, people in IDP camp, to return home. But then with the threat posed by this militant, it means the problem is said to be over. We are likely to have more refugees because when you look at the population of that particular side of Cameroon, it means there will be a free flow into Nigeria. So the moment we refused to address the security issues there, it has become an international thing. And the best thing is to now empower the West African Task Force that was created to do more of curbing this thing from there, because our borders are porous. There are many aspects of our borders that are not being manned in Nigeria today. And if our borders are porous, we don't have the capacity to stop this thing from coming in, because when they face a threat, they will move inside. People will run away from that. So already Nigeria has millions of refugees in IDP camps. And we have all our neighbors, they are in one crisis or the other. Probably except maybe in Chad, it's a little bit. But when you look at Cameroon, look at that axis, they are in serious problem.
Absolutely. So, but this matter needs to be looked into.
We have to look into this.
Let's quickly take this call, a caller from Adamawa State. Abdulaziz, please go ahead with your contribution. Okay, since we are yet to have connection with Abdulaziz, apologies there, but let's quickly continue with our discussions here right now. Tunde, you know, with what you've rightly put out as a major concern, while the military has been invited to, well, secure the nation's territory, what would you propose the government should do? You know, you've given out some, you know, areas the government should focus on, but what are those concrete steps, will I say short-term solutions, as against the long-term solutions as at now? Well,
I think if Nigeria can be bold enough to close the borders officially, then the military will be in full swing. It's like declaring a set of people terrorists. Then you apply the hardest of measures towards curbing them. Until Nigeria face that issue and regard that thing, they will not be able to contain them. So let us close all those borders officially so that the military can go in full-scale war.
Right, because I understand.
It's protecting your territorial integrity, and that is what the military is supposed to do now. Right. I think they have to be empowered more. Empowered in terms of weaponry, in terms of tactics, in terms of doing new things, in terms of intelligence gathering. Because without intelligence, we will not be able to solve this problem. It's not, today's war is no more about armored tanks alone, but intelligence is very, very crucial to our soldiers there. So we have to do more.
Indeed. Well, let's quickly take our call now. Abdulaziz, you're live now. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, actually. And how are you doing?
Great. Well, great. Please go ahead.
Now, actually, the problem that we are facing in this country, seriously, is Nigeria is facing frightening future ahead. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yes, Nigeria is facing frightening future ahead. With the recent attack, look at what is happening here. Even here in Askira Uba, Borno. Day before yesterday, they keeps on hitting our listing here. And if Nigerian government cannot stand up and then look at this issue critically and solve this seriously, Nigeria will going to turn into something else.
And we hope to not get to that area. Thank you very much, Abdulaziz, for your contribution. Let's look at this matter, you know, in terms of security now. Last month, we understand the separatist Ambazonia defense group have confirmed an alliance with the indigenous people of Biafra. And both separatist leaders explained that the two groups would work to secure their common border and ensure an open exchange of arms, intelligence, and personnel. Now, do you think this should be a matter of concern?
The Southeast does not have any border, you know, with Cameroon, except if you want to include the Cross River, you know.
Because without Cross River, they can't get
Cross River. That is where then this issue will come up. Of course, being two groups of people that have the same political ideology, you know, it will not be out of place for anybody to reason or think that there will be a kind of, you know, alliance, you know, for them to see how they will realize, you know, their ambitions, you know. So that's the way I look at it. So that geographical break, you know, between the Southeast as we know it today, you know, with these southern Cameroonians, you know, it makes it difficult for them to really pose a very serious, you know, threat to the Nigerian state in terms of, you know, cooperation, you know, because, mind you, this was a group of people that ought to have been part of the Nigerian territory.
Yes.
But for the fact that they elected, you know, to be with Cameroon when there was a referendum. We had southern and northern Cameroon. The northern Cameroon comprises of Borno, Adamawa, and Taraba. So when the referendum was done in 1961, it was the northern part, which was the Muslim part, that elected to join Nigeria. But these people now in the referendum decided to join, you know, Cameroon. So that's why you now have this English-speaking this. Of course, they were mandate territory under the British, you know, colonial rule. You know, so when Cameroon achieved independence, so the problem of where they should belong now came up. Then the United Nations had to organize a referendum where part of them decided to join Nigeria, and that's where you have the Adamawa Borno people and then this side elected to join this people. So they are far away from the main southeast. But being so close, you know, in terms of ideology, it will not be out of place for the two groups to be, you know, thinking along the same line.
All right, let's hold your thoughts. We need to take this call from Newi. Uche, please go ahead with your contribution.
Good evening, the panelists. I thank you.
Good evening. Go ahead.
Yeah, actually my contribution is this. I don't understand. Please, if you can help me. Yeah, this double standard of a thing.
Okay, it seems we've lost connection with Uche calling all the way from Newi. If you can call us back, we will take your call. So, with the position given by Chiamwola Moke, now, Tunde, what's your stand with regards to, you know, IPOB and the Ambazonia Defense Forces, you know, working together as an alliance?
Well, I think IPOB, they're just trying to strengthen themselves. It's not as if it is possible for them, so far, because of the geographical congruency between Nigeria, it's not possible for IPOB to cross over to Cameroon because all these people are there. So each of them represent threats, internal threats to the countries in which they are. So yes, they can exchange ammunition and some other things, but I think IPOB are only interested in strengthening themselves in Nigeria, not necessarily crossing over to that place. They want to cause more instability in Nigeria. Probably that is a way of distracting government, because Nigeria lacks the capacity to fight wars on many fronts. IPOB will be doing their own in the east, in the southeast. The northern Cameroon people, the rebels and separatists from others, they are doing their own. But yet, there is a gulf between the two. So I think IPOB just wanted to strengthen themselves. I can't see anything realistically that they can do. But the government should take it more seriously, especially with the trial of the IPOB leader. They are angry. So they are looking for enough capacity to continue their campaign. So it is not out of place to see that they will have one alliance or the other. But that's not to threaten that particular territory. But the aim of IPOB is to cause enough distraction for the Nigerian government so that they can continue. That is how I look at it.
Okay, but you know, this defense, all right, I understand we have another caller from Jos. Please go ahead with your contribution.
From Jos. Hangout. Good evening.
Good evening.
You see, when I saw this news about the Ambazonian invaders, I had good sympathy, you know, that the Cameroonian separatists from the English-speaking sect. The military has to be, you know, up and doing. This is an insult on our territorial integrity, you know. And again, I don't know for whatever reason, but I have a feeling that maybe they want to now, you know, expand their territory, since they have the agenda is to separate from the French-speaking section. But then we don't have to bear the brunt. This goes to show that our borders are very porous. So the military, the federal government should do something about it. All this idea of chasing after certain separatist groups in Nigeria and then leaving out what they are supposed to do around our major borders, it's counterproductive. Let them do a coordinated kind of attack. I don't know, we have enough problems. God bless you. Let's not give up on this country.
Thank you very much for your contribution there. So, Chiamwola Moke, it seems everyone is saying the same thing. Border checks, our borders are porous.
Yes.
What's your position?
Yes, it has already been an issue to Nigeria, and that is why we've been having the security crisis, you know, on all fronts. So the government has to, you know, take some measures, you know. So with the number of attacks we've had from these Cameroonian borders, you know, right from time, is enough for Nigeria to have a kind of strategic response. You know, maybe having some military, you know, facilities very close to these borders. You know, that could go a long way. Because before these people attack to the point of entering Nigerian villages, they must have, you know, done their surveillance to know that they can move into the villages and then execute their havoc and go home without being arrested. And that is what has been happening. If you watch all the times it has happened. So we cannot overemphasize this very fact that Nigeria needs to protect its territories. And the only way to do that is to engage, those who should secure our borders.
All right, we have another caller from Jos, from Ikeja, absolutely, in Lagos, Nigeria. John, please go ahead with your contribution.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, this is John calling. Please, in that aspect of Cross River, we have a military base at Ikom local government, in which that monitor both the local government, Buki local government, and down to, let me see, how do I call this other place, this Riverine area. So at least those military supposed to defend that place properly for Nigeria, because already they have already collected what's so called the other local government, which they push out Nigeria away from it. And right now again they are bringing another method. Please, they should not take it. They should not just take it easy like that. They should take it serious, because every country now is trying to make up development to their own country. So maybe they are looking for ways of taking more Nigeria territory.
Thank you very much, John, for your contribution there. Tunde, with what has been said so far, the government needs to sit up if it is to protect the territory of the country, knowing that people's lives are at stake. And there are already fears that if this so-called expansion of the separatist group is anything to go by, then there will be nothing left. Well, God forbid. But, let's look at what this separatist group had said, that they have alleged that it is the state government's ploy to invite Nigeria against the Ambazonians into a liberation war. Do you think this should be looked into, perhaps an investigation of some sort? What are your thoughts?
Well, what I think is that the federal government needs a coordinated attempt towards solving our internal crisis. When we are able to solve our internal crisis, there is very little for which internal insurgents can begin to play and have an accord with those people who are coming from outside. If there is no crisis within, those ambassadorial incidents, the Amazonia, they won't have any boldness or the capacity to begin to engage our people so that it can be a distraction to Nigeria. I think they are just exploiting the fact that all those states' government within that particular border, Borno, Yobe, I think they are exploiting the fact that that place is internally weak for now. If it is weak for now, there's very little government can do. So the first thing the Nigerian government can do is to move into those areas and secure that particular area. Except to secure, do you know how many people Borno State has in the IDP camps? So internally we are very weak. And if we are weak internally, there's no way we can actually combat territorial expansionists from other West African countries. And I think that is our problem. And they have noted that, for instance, now during the last local government election in Enugu State, we mounted about 34,000 troops, policemen, to that particular area, while our borders were in serious crisis with our border. So that's a distraction already. So let us take care of the internal insurgency first before we'll be able to deal with the external factors that are really threatening the peace of Nigeria. Because if those people should gain control of that territory like they have done to do in Borno State, then Nigeria will have serious crisis, which will not be able. So let us take care. Let the government has a special task force, a military task force. Except, yes, I know we have a medium coastal powers in West Africa, but let us affirm that particular, because it's in the interest of Nigeria that we will not, if Nigeria is destabilized, the whole of West Africa will go. So let the federal government put more measures in having a relationship with Benin, with Chad, with Niger, with Cameroon, towards curbing all these particular things. Except we do that, those people may not have the capacity to stop them from coming to Nigeria. And the moment our border areas in the northeast is porous, then we have serious crisis, besides the crisis we have at home. So I think we have to put on our thinking cap and be ingenious about the way we solve our problem.
Right.
Because it is not something that is natural. It is not a problem that is pedestrian to us. It is something that is novel. We have never encountered this thing 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And we have to know that the crisis in West Africa sub-region is also affecting Nigeria So that is the more reason why we have to take care of the local crisis insurgencies in Nigeria. Government should not put more effort on people organizing demonstration here and there. Let us forget, but let us concentrate on external forces.
All right, let's quickly go on a break. You're watching Journalist Hangout. We'll have more discussions in just a moment. Stay with us. Another dark cloud looms over tertiary institutions in Nigeria. Now, the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, ASUP, has frowned at the delay in the release of approved 15 billion naira revitalization fund, non-payment of salaries to its members in some state-owned institutions, and non-commencement of negotiation of the 2010 agreement. Hence, the union called on the federal and some state governments to pay outstanding arrears of the minimum wage of its members, as contained in the Memorandum of Understanding. Now, Chiawola Moke, this is, from the introduction, is another strike looming in the nation's polytechnics. And this is all due to the alleged failure of government to release funds agreed with the polytechnics about 7 months ago. As in, what do you make of this? Because it's becoming like a recurring decimal.
Look, this is another variant of the ASU saga. Now, coming to the level of polytechnics we have in Nigeria. If you look at how this thing is playing out, you wonder the kind of value Nigeria places on education. That's the first thing that strikes you. What value do we have for education in Nigeria? There are only 27 federal polytechnics we have in Nigeria. And they are demanding for 15 billion as funds to, rejig their infrastructure. That's what the issue is basically all about. 15 billion. And what is 15 billion that the federal government cannot provide if it is actually serious with the issue of, polytechnic education? When we are talking about polytechnic, we are dealing with the issue of middle-level manpower, which every nation, requires, if you are thinking of, industrialization. Nigeria has not been able to fulfill its obligation to us. It cannot fulfill its obligation to polytechnics. It cannot fulfill its obligation to College of Education. In spite of all this, federal government is going ahead almost on a yearly basis, creating additional institutions, creating universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education you cannot fund. Even our lawmakers are not helping matters. They've reduced the creation or establishment of institutions of higher learning as part of their constituency project. Institutions of higher learning are no longer centers for learning research. They have become constituency projects. You have a situation whereby states in Nigeria that cannot, meet up their catchment areas in some of the institutions that surround them. They can't meet up the quota. You see them having three or four universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. We have in this country where states pupils cannot, get up to three scores over 200 to get into unity colleges. Yet you have federal institutions in all these places. You have states in Nigeria where you can count the number of pupils that make 5 credits in school certificate as to qualify to enter universities. But you have universities, federal, state, in those areas. Could you believe the fact that there is a state in Nigeria that has 4 universities, state universities, 2 federal technology universities of technology. That's a Delta State. Delta State has 4 state-owned universities. It has Federal University of Petroleum at Efuru, and it has another maritime technology. University, in the same Delta. Right now, as we speak, there is a bill sponsored by the minority leader of House of Representatives from that area for another Federal University of Technology to be sited in the state capital, which is Asaba. In 2018, when 9 new universities and colleges of technology were about to be established, a public hearing was organized, and Professor Oguyemi, the former ASU president, attended that public hearing at the National Assembly. He said that his heart bled that this parliament was about to create 9 of such institutions when he cannot fund anyone. And one of the lawmakers who was hell-bent on attracting one of those institutions to his constituency, he was asked where would the fund come from? Because in the making of a bill, I've covered the parliament for 9 years. That's the National Assembly. Before a bill is being made, you must have to attach the financial imperative. What it will require for that law to be implemented. When the lawmaker was asked, he said, let us establish them first. The fund will come later. Have you not seen what is happening with the present bid in the Senate for 6 centers of the Nigerian Law School to be added to the existing 6, making it 12? Even when the real stakeholders, the body of benchers and the MBA, are saying no to it. But the senators behind them, who want to attract those centers as trophies, what they will show to have accomplished to their constituencies, are now pushing to get those centers established. When the existing law faculty, law centers we have are not being well funded. If you are going to establish such schools, is it the lawmakers that should have a better say or final say in establishing them, or the real stakeholders, the MBAs and the body of benchers? That is the same thing that happens in the establishment of colleges of education, polytechnics and universities. So it has become an issue for politicking, for all the people in Abuja to attract them to their areas, whether they are useful to the state or not. And that is why you keep on having more of such institutions which the Nigerian state cannot fund. So I will urge ASU to proceed on this very strike. I will urge even ASU, because ASU and all these bodies, they are not helping matters the way they will just initiate one strike, and then government will call them to a round table and then paper the cracks and then sing a kind of lullaby, and all of them will go to sleep and then call it off, only for them to wake up from their slumber and then about 3 months or more, they will initiate another decision. That is not the way it should go. I remember in this country that Professor Wole Soyinka, said that maybe it would be better for us to close the institutions, even if it is 2 years, and think properly of how we are going to fund education in Nigeria. I think that we've got to that point. Last year, we closed schools in Nigeria. We lost one academic year because of COVID-19. Heavens did not fall. Heavens did not fall. And then we keep on having this and making mockery of our institutions. Go abroad and see how institutions are funded. Even the money we have in our Federal Reserve is much lower than what Harvard has, Harvard University has in its, endowment fund. Endowment fund. We don't know. We no longer know what it takes to run a university or to establish an institution of higher learning. That's the problem.
All right, let me quickly get your thoughts on this, Tunde. With so much, it's an impassionate one from the part of Chiamwola Muke, but let's be honest and let's be fair to ourselves. The students are the ones that will get to bear the brunt. When they say, when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. The
question you ask yourself is, what are the students gaining from the present situation
from the road?
What are the students gaining? Last year, about 2 million sat for JAMB. In all the federal universities and state universities in Nigeria and private universities, they can't take more than 500,000.
Yes.
Then the backlog has been on for the last 5 years. I think the problem with us, like I said the other time, that Nigeria needs help, is that, the scripture says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. Our politicians, our leaders have no vision at all. The only thing they have is mission. And when you have mission, you just want to get to that particular position and begin to manage on. If they have vision, they will know that in the 70s and 80s, we used to have national development plan. That national development plan, you plan it, you focus it, and you make sure you implement it based on what you have for each field of human endeavor: economy, education, agriculture, aviation, every other thing. If that plan is followed closely, then you will know that education, establishment of tertiary institutions should not be politicized, but our politicians have reduced the standard of everything in order to graduate themselves. They have reduced the standard of health. They have reduced the standard of education so that they can practically every local government in Nigeria will have university from the way we are going. And when you get to those universities, they will be glorified secondary schools. Even if they are up to secondary schools, like I said, go to other higher institutions all over the world. You will see what will happen. So the thing is that we have no vision for anything. Our leaders have no vision. If they have vision, including those in the National Assembly who are just sending this bill, like I said, to graduate themselves, they are not looking at the quality. And ironically, the amount of money they are taking home is enough for them to send their children overseas. So deliberately, we are killing education in Nigeria. The more we establish more universities and pretend that we cannot fund, we are killing education. Look at us now. They are just asking for 21 billion. The federal government put pen to paper. And in Nigeria, what we have government doing in Nigeria is that they know how to sign agreement. In Nigeria, governments know how to sign agreement, but they will never honor that agreement. ASU is proposing to go on a strike for something that was signed 9 months ago. They gave them 3 weeks notice. ASU are doing their own. When these things are, all these things, so if they should go on strike, which means about 2 or 3 million of our children will be at home doing nothing. And an idle hand is a devil's workshop. I wonder whether our leaders even think for the fact that if you don't keep these students busy in our institutions, if you don't keep them busy, you are inviting trouble for yourself. And that's why I'm saying that they have no vision at all. Because when you have a vision, you are looking at 20 or 10 years what you are going to do. But what they have is mission to just be in position and graduate themselves with establishing mushroom higher institutions that cannot serve any purpose.
Let me hold your thoughts for there, and I'll take this call. We have Philip calling all the way from Jalingo. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Good evening, gentlemen of the press. Yeah?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, I want to talk about the initial issue, that is the security issue in Taraba, about the Ambazonian attack. Hello?
Go ahead, we're listening.
Yes, you see, this is not the first time this thing is happening. Just last month, in October, I think to be on the 21st or 22nd to be precise, there was attack in a neighboring local government in the southern Taraba, that is Kurumi local government, where some of the Cameroonian soldiers, these are Cameroonian soldiers, invaded 2 villages, that is Meriga and Toso village. while intimidating people there. They claim that they were searching for some of the Ambazonian separatists that run into Nigeria. To the extent that people deserted their villages to the local government headquarters. Even the chairman of the local government, Joseph Danladi, confirmed it, on a telephone chat with journalists. But our government refused to take a decisive action. Now the Cameroonian government are using that to do propaganda. Between them and the Ambazonia, nobody knows who is saying the truth now. The government should verify it very well, because this is the second time. So
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Philip, for that insight and updates there. So, well, though we've moved on from that discussion.
Both ASU and ASUP, together they are asking for 37 billion, in which the federal government put pen to paper. The Minister for Education, the Minister for Labour, they put pen to paper. And 9 months down the line, like you said, we closed our institution last year because, for 2 reasons, because of COVID and because of the fact that there was no agreement. So students have to stay at home. Then you are now asking yourself, whether we had an NSAS. NSAS will come because students who are supposed to be in classroom, applying their heart to knowledge, they have been rendered jobless. They have been rendered idle. And when they are rendered idle, what you have is a revolution that is happening. That's why I'm saying that our leaders are not thinking at all. They don't even know there's a Chinese proverb that says that the best way to be selfish is to be selfless. When you make sure that the students are engaged, they are occupied all the time, they are seeking knowledge every time, they have confidence in future. Because when you don't have knowledge, you have no confidence in yourself. They have confidence in their future. But our leaders, instead of making sure that our institutions are well, they prefer running the system down. They are deliberately running the system down so that they can keep on going to overseas countries. If there is a leader in this country that can make a law that anybody that's a government employee or a public officer should not have words outside Nigeria, you will discover under 5 years Nigerian institution will be the best.
And do you think that is possible?
It is possible. It is a
question. Are you ready to get that done?
It is a question of the willingness. That's what I'm saying. There is no leader at all in Nigeria. It's a question of the willingness of leadership to sacrifice based on the vision they have. If they have a vision, they will work towards that vision. But what they have, I guess, is a mission to just be in office and occupy that office. They are not bloody care what happened. And that's why we have education doing this in Nigeria. Now we have over 100 universities. All the states in Nigeria have federal university. They have federal college of education. Besides the old generation university that I have in this country, how can you just be establishing university? The way they are even establishing airports, almost before you know it, all local governments in Nigeria we also have airports. It's lack of vision.
Let's have your thoughts on this.
Yes, you see, apart from the issue of misplaced priority or getting our priorities wrong, a major issue here is government inability to have a template to trace its revenue. It's paucity of fund. That's what government will tell you. But then,
they're establishing more. There's no
Nigerians are asking questions.
For yourself.
What are we doing with the money we are making from the petroleum resources that we have in this country? Where is the money going to? Recall that recently ICPC told us that 2 civil servants had 301
houses
in
Abuja.
And these people are probably directors whom I could pay their salary when I was working in Punch. I will pay their salaries and still feed myself. These are people having 301 houses. So how do we have a system that government, funds get into private hands?
At the end of the day, they will get slap in the wrist judgment.
Companies, come to Nigeria to establish business, and for 10 good years, they will not pay tax.
Single tax.
They will not pay tax. EFCC, Bawa, when he was, announcing his 100 years 100 days in office, his performance in 100 days, he made mention of 100 million. The agency was able to recover for one agency of government. That is government fund in
private coffers.
Private hands or companies.
Private force, yeah.
That is how the fund of the government have been in private hands. Why government will going abroad to look for money from China to build our roads, to build all the infrastructure that we have? That is the problem that Nigeria has.
In as much as we have this as a situation in our hands and we need solutions, that is what majority of Nigerians want. What can we do to reverse this seemingly danger in our educational system where it seems to be crumbling to its knees? What would you propose as the best solution to this crisis?
Yeah, I've mentioned what I may call the Wole Soyinka's solution, which maybe you thought it was a joke. Another one is the fact that we need to have an education summit that will involve all the critical stakeholders. We've had once in the past under Jonathan and other government regimes, when they finish, they throw the report out there. We need to have a serious stakeholders, meeting, so that it will take a decision on how tertiary institutions should be funded. A lot of Nigerians believe that government can do everything, but with the kind of government that we have, with the kind of competing demands in terms of infrastructure, that we need, and the leakages in terms of the money that is available to government, it's difficult for anybody to think that government can take all the financial challenges.
All right, let me hold your thoughts for that. We need to take this call, contribution from Gusau, Zamfara State. Chinedu, please go ahead with your contribution.
Yeah, good day, please. Good day, the anchor and the discussants. Good day.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I want to speak about this ASUG strike, because I meant to understand they're asking government to place some funds as regards to the privatization of the access of the polytechnics. And I want to ask one question. Please help me ask the federal government. This minimum wage, when it was approved, is it not in the budget? How many years has the budget gone through that government has paid minimum wage to all the whole institutions in Nigeria, apart from higher institutions, the polytechnic, the university, and the college of education? What is wrong with government paying minimum wage to all these institutions? Has the polytechnic, university, and the college of education done anything wrong to collect their minimum wage when other institutions and India has collected their own? What is wrong with? Who is sitting on this money? And why is it difficult for the federal government to pay this minimum wage that has been approved in the budget as of 2 years ago? I want to help me address that to the government. Why is it so? If it doesn't like high institutions, it should close the federal institutions, polytechnic, university, college. Let us go and see that. Then all these things we see, it is a mess. From the budget, what is called a budget, is a mess. Please.
All right. Thank you very much, Chinedu. I think the government is listening and have heard your question, so they will have a right answer to that. But Tunde, okay, let me quickly end up with you now, Chimaloki. Yeah. With what you're saying so far, just quickly wrap up before we move to the next issue.
I was saying that with the kind of government that we have and the resources available, I don't see it as something that is possible for the federal government or government at any level, be it state, to be the sole financier of education. That the other stakeholders, the parents and the students, should be made to contribute in funding education. After all, we have a lot of Nigerians. We have over 50 or 60,000 Nigerians in Ghana who are going there for higher education. They pay for it. In South Africa, even in Togo, here, they do so. And more universities should not be established, because the more you establish this, you increase the funding, the financial crisis, of these universities.
Right. So Tunde, final thoughts on this issue in terms of what we can do to reverse this trend.
What we can do is, as we have in other sectors, we must put a stop to deliberate politicization of everything in Nigeria. We have politicized everything. If we have not politicized it, senators and House of Rep people will not be begging for universities in almost every local government in Nigeria. So we have, and the federal government too, and the Senate too, they are dancing along with it. Yes, let us establish if that is the concern. So the question you ask yourself is that, of what benefit has been those new universities to their immediate environment? What have they contributed to knowledge and learning? What are they contributed to research? In what way have they benefited or improved the condition of living? Because that is the essence of a center of learning. So we have politicized almost everything in Nigeria. That's why I said the fundamental problem running with us is that our leaders are not visionary. They just have a vision to be in government. They don't know what they want to do in 5 or 10 years. So if you have a vision, you will know where you are taking your education. You will know where you are taking your agriculture. You will know where you are taking your health. You will know every other thing. But we have no vision. Let us it's another opportunity for Nigeria to sit down and look at the leaders they elect, because the foundation is seriously problem. Nigeria is in real need of leadership that can pilot us out of this particular confusion, because this is confusion when you cannot abide by the agreement you signed a year ago with university lecturers. You cannot abide by the agreement you signed with ASUP a year ago, and you are establishing new universities. Go to all the federal universities that you have in Nigeria. Even in University of Ibadan, you cannot believe they cannot house more than 2,000 students out of about 10,000 student population. So you get an accommodation now, parents will pay through the nose. So it is even wrong to believe that the education is very cheap in Nigeria, even though because the cost of staying in school is much more than the cost of paying tuition fees. That's what people don't know. Go to all the centers of learning, all the federal universities, Nsukka, Abu, Ife, Lagos. Go and see the way students are living. So all these things has to be put into consideration. That's why I'm saying we have politicized almost everything in Nigeria. And anything that you politicize, nothing can come out of it in the Nigerian way. So let us, like you said, let us sit down as a country and say, where are we going?
Right.
And for us to say, where are we going, we must know where we are coming back from. Let us forget about sentiment. Because I believe that we are in serious need of serious and visionary leaders to move us out of this mess.
And that's a fine place to leave it, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your insights so far. Chianwolamwoke Nwankwo and Tunde Abaton. We appreciate your insights on the show. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Babajide Kolade or Titoju via Zoom, but he will be joining us hopefully tomorrow. And that's about it on today's edition of Journalist Hangout. Join us again tomorrow for another episode. You can watch a repeat broadcast of the show tonight at 11. And don't forget to join us again on Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Many thanks for watching. I am Esther Mokwariola, and God bless Nigeria.